I'm gonna go over every bad decision made in it and explain what I would have done differently. The first bad decision is when Georgie gets munched on by Pennywise. So Georgie is testing out his new boat in the rain, and he kind of smacks his head and loses the boat because of how fast she is, and it ends up in the sewer drain. While Georgie is looking in the drain, Pennywise spawns and starts chatting with him. Georgie knows stranger danger. He even says it, but he keeps on talking to Pennywise, which leads to Pennywise manipulating him into grabbing the boat and biting his arm off. While Georgie does try to crawl away, Pennywise drags him into the sewer. Now it's pretty obvious what you should do here. If you see a clown or anyone in the sewer drain that, by the way, is somehow the exact one your boat fell into, you should run. I would run extremely fast. This is not normal. It doesn't make sense. While you could defend Georgie's actions by saying he's just a little kid, he obviously had the common knowledge to know this wasn't right and looked visibly uncomfortable and tried leaving. The only factor that really led to his downfall was the paper boat. Bill and Georgie worked really hard on this boat and it was perfect. So Georgie was scared of Bill getting mad. So Pennywise used this to manipulate him. While this is fair, Georgie should have known they could make another boat. Your brother is not going to disown you because of an accident that wasn't 100% your fault. We then go to Ben, who's chilling in the library and doing some research on Derry. And while he's researching, a red balloon floats on by. Ben thinks, I'm gonna follow that. So he does, leading him to an Easter egg. And after following the eggs, it leads him to the basement. The lights then start flickering, and a dark figure of a boy runs by and laughs. Then a person starts walking down the stairs, and Ben uses the pillar to hide, which is smart. But the person has no head and starts running after him. Surprisingly, Ben has some survival skills and starts booking it. Turns out too, this headless man is Pennywise. But the librarian walks to the basement and breaks his delusion, saving him. The first thing I would have done after seeing the red balloon is realize no one else is looking at it and ask around, hey, do you see that red balloon? They would probably say no. Then I would sit myself right back down. Also, I probably wouldn't follow a red balloon. Why is a red balloon even in a library? And why did it disappear? And now there's an Easter egg. That makes no sense. Besides that though, I feel Ben did handle the basement scene pretty well. I mean, he ran perfectly to loop around and go back upstairs. The only thing he did that was bad was looking back when running. That kind of slows you down. Now we go to Eddie, who's walking home when he decides to pop a pill in front of the scariest house I have ever seen. So now he's stationary in front of this house. The door then opens by itself and says, "What are you looking for?" which startles him and ends with him dropping his pills. While picking them up, a literal zombie grabs one of the pills, obviously terrifying him. He then starts crawling backwards towards the house, then finally getting up and is now running into the backyard of, by the way, the creepiest house ever. He reaches the fence and decides to look back. And guess who's looking at him? Pennywise. He then decides instead of leaving, he should just enjoy the show. Just sit here and let this clown talk to him, who also knows his name.
Where you going, Ed?
If that's not a sign to leave, I don't know what is. But he lets him yap, then finally tries to escape, but also takes another pause before leaving to look back again. But Pennywise luckily disappeared. Truthfully, his biggest mistake is allowing the zombie to push him towards the house. If I was in this scenario, even if I'm crawling backwards, I would crawl literally any other way but the front gate. Then the last part is obvious. Just like before, you see a weird clown, especially if it knows your name, you leave. I don't understand horror movie characters' fascination with staring at things. The next bad decision is just plain stupid. Beverly is in the bathroom, reading this card Ben got her, until she hears a voice coming from the sink. Not weird at all, very normal, right? And she just has to investigate. So she puts a tape measure down the sink to see how far it goes. And while she's pulling it up, there's bloody hair on it. This bloody hair then attaches to her whole body, pulling her into the sink and then drenching her in blood. So if I was in this scenario, if my sink is talking, I'm probably going to ignore that. Sinks don't talk. I'm not gonna investigate that. Now we go to our main character, Bill. He's having a sad grieving moment about Georgie until he hears a noise. So he goes downstairs to check it out, and he sees Georgie run into the basement. He of course goes into the basement to find Georgie standing ominously in the corner of the room. Georgie then starts just saying,
"You'll float too, you'll float too,"
to which his face starts getting all demonic and weird. Then Pennywise's head comes out of the water, and it took Pennywise literally running towards Bill for him to finally move away. In this situation, you have to think a little. If this was really Georgie, he wouldn't be running away from you. you. He would run up to you and give you the biggest hug. But I get it. You need confirmation. And maybe you're just seeing things. But once you enter the basement and you now see Georgie clear as day and he's just acting all ominous in a corner, this is not Georgie. I'd hate to say I'd run again over and over, so I won't. But you know what I'm thinking. I mean, look how close Pennywise got to getting Bill. After everyone but Richie had a terrifying encounter with Pennywise, they decided to try to understand what is attacking them. Ben explains that from his research, there have been many incidents of missing people all over Derry. So the Losers Club use a projector with the Derry map and X's of all the places it has attacked, which makes them realize it's all connected to the sewers. And all the sewers meet up at the scary monster house. Also, Pennywise kind of comes out of the projector here and attacks them, but they smartly open the garage door and Pennywise despawns. So you would think, after getting confirmation that there is a supernatural beast that has been alive for centuries, making multiple people go missing, you would leave that alone, right? Well, Bill decides he is going to go to the house that it probably lives at. What? I would obviously ignore this. I am not going to that house. That is a death wish. That's like stuffing yourself into a bear's mouth. The rest of the group thinks Bill is absolutely insane, and I'm glad they think that. But them being good friends, decide they won't let him go alone and join him. Well, Eddie and Richie do. The rest stay on watch, which is more simply just them being smart and scared. This scenario is honestly pretty rough. I feel you owe a loyalty to your friend to not let them walk alone into this house, but if you want to survive, you go home. It's that simple. Now, if you want it to be less simple, you can still go inside and increase your survival chance. Right now, they are severely unprepared to go into this house. They have nothing, so they should probably get weapons before entering for sure. Not even just for Pennywise, but there could 100% be squatters living here. Also, the fact 3 of them are on watch is stupid. You only need 1 person. Having more people inside will definitely increase survival chances. The first weird thing they see is posters of Richie missing. Already a terrifying sign. They then hear someone yell help from upstairs and decide to go up there. They then see the missing girl Betty get yanked. Of course, it's a horror movie, so they go towards this room. Then Eddie hears a voice and decides to look back, stand there, and then hit his inhaler, which causes him to be left behind. This is bad because once his friends enter the room, the door closes behind them, and now Eddie decides to run to his friends, but it's obviously too late. Then the literal floor opens up and a zombie is behind him, causing him to fall down this hole, and he is now all alone and can't get up because of the pain. The only truthfully dumb mistake here was made by Eddie. He should have stayed with his friends. He shouldn't have let himself get distracted. Staying together is the most important thing in this scenario. Speaking of not staying together, Richie hears a voice telling him to come here. So he goes into this scary room and the door closes, getting now all 3 of them separated. Once again, I think this stupid decision could have been easily fixed with some simple communication. Hey Bill, I heard a voice over here. Want to check it out together? I don't know why they aren't more careful of being separated. I would be glued to my friend. Richie is a goofball though, so he's now in a clown-infested room, and a casket opens with his missing poster and red wording saying found. He walks towards the casket and sees a doll of himself, so he smartly closes it. And Pennywise appears and jumps at him, and Bill literally saves the day opening the door. Richie honestly handled the situation perfectly. There wasn't much else he could do, and Bill probably couldn't open the door until Pennywise let him. Eddie now wakes up with a broken arm, and Pennywise comes out of a fridge, time to float, and starts walking towards him. And Eddie does try his best to get away, given that his arm is literally broken. He also smacks him, which is hilarious, but he is trying, I'll give him that. Pennywise then opens his mouth about to eat him until he gets distracted, because Bill and Richie realize what they were seeing wasn't real, and they finally get back to Eddie. Pennywise is now focused on Bill because he's mad at him for not thinking it was real, so he lunges towards Bill. But Beverly saves the day, stabbing Pennywise in the head. He then leaves after getting a petty scratch on Egg Boy's belly, which is just so messed up. Bro already has a name carved there. In this scene, the only dumb mistake once again comes from Eddie. While his arm was broken and he couldn't really defend himself or anything, he should have yelled for help way earlier. I'm sure he was freaked out, but his first instinct should have been to yell for help. I mean, his 3 friends were right next to him outside. If it wasn't for Bill and Richie getting through that door thing, he would have had his head chowed off. Way too risky of a situation. I also think the 3 friends on watch waited way too long to check in. I mean, did they not hear Eddie's fall? Regardless though, it was just stupid to have 3 people on watch. That was dumb. After this, everyone realizes the real danger of what is going on, and they are done. But they obviously are not. That's not how movies work. So Bill goes over to Beverly's house and sees blood on the walls saying, "You'll die if you try," meaning Pennywise has Beverly. Because of this, Bill convinces the entire group to go into the sewers to save her. Now look, this is how I'd survive, meaning I'm trying to survive no matter how selfish I have to be. I would not go save Beverly. I mean, you'll die if you try? Okay, I won't try then. I don't want to die. You know, it's as simple as that. These friends are loyal though, and not selfish like me. So they go back to the Nabel house, and they are actually more prepared than last time. They brought flashlights and weapons, which is smart. They then head to the basement and smartly use a rope to go down the well, all going one by one. Mike is the last to go, and right before going, Henry attacks Mike and is about to shoot Mike with the bolt gun. But luckily, Mike is able to smack the bolt gun out of his hand, hit him with a rock, and push him down the well. Mike honestly killed this moment. I mean, he probably could have grabbed the rock sooner and not risked getting shot with the bolt gun, but regardless, he did well. The primary mistake here was the kids not spotting his car when outside the house. While they were more prepared with what they brought into the house, they should have most definitely scouted around the house before going in to make sure there aren't any cops or to see if there are any signs of anyone else in this house. It's just a smart precaution. This would have easily prevented Mike being alone fighting Henry. Speaking of being alone, Stanley hears Beverly's voice and decides to go towards it, not communicating with his friends about what he's hearing or making sure they are going with him, just going towards this voice alone, which then results in the painting lady attacking him. The friend group does hear his screams, and he luckily gets saved by them, and also the lady's mouth is really weird, so it doesn't really hurt him too bad. When I first watched this, I genuinely thought his face just got ripped off. As I said earlier, staying together is so important. I would not leave my friend's side while in a creepy tunnel that is home to this thing. Bill then sees Georgie and learns absolutely nothing from this Stanley scenario and decides to leave the group and follow Georgie. He does grab the bolt gun, which is smart, but you would think after that situation at his own home with Georgie, he would know better, but that's not the case. So following Georgie leads him to Pennywise's lair, where he sees Beverly. Honestly, it's surprising he didn't get trapped in this scenario. If this was Welcome to Derry, you best believe as soon as he left that group, he would have been absolutely annihilated. Anyways, Bill came down here with one purpose, right? To save Beverly. And well, he sees Georgie again and leaves her to go follow Georgie. This part just blows me away. First off, if he communicated earlier, then his friends would be with Beverly and he could go see Georgie. Or in this scenario where he did not communicate to his friends, he could have screamed for his friends and been like, "Hey, I found Beverly," and then went to go get Georgie. Luckily though, his friends do find Beverly and Ben kisses her and saves her, so whatever, it doesn't really matter. So Bill keeps following Georgie and gets really lucky that Pennywise decides not to lure him deeper into the sewer, and he is actually still close to his friends. Pennywise then talks through Georgie, but messes up when not calling the boat a she. So Ben shoots Georgie with the bolt gun, and it actually turns out to be Pennywise. Now, I don't know if that was his plan all along, like he knew this was Pennywise, and it would be a good opportunity to get a free shot on him. If he did, he's a smart man. But if he genuinely realized this wasn't Georgie after he didn't say she, This is just plain stupid. Also so risky if he wasn't 100% sure. Imagine this was Georgie. So while Georgie is shapeshifting into Pennywise, instead of them all going ham on Pennywise together right here, Bill tries to shoot Pennywise with the bolt gun, and everyone just straight up ignores Mike, who keeps saying it's not loaded. So they wasted some precious time here that they could have used to be going ham on Pennywise. Regardless though, in the actual fighting scene, they honestly do a really good job using teamwork and beating up Pennywise. My only critique is that they kind of realized too late that fear was what made him powerful, which makes sense for the plot, but Bill and Richie literally realized this in the scary house earlier, so I'm not sure why they didn't use that tactic instantly while here. But while it could have been a quicker battle, they truthfully did well. So yeah, that's how you survive it. It's kind of a bunch of being a wuss, like running away from things you should run away from. Kinda lame, but most of the situations these kids got in were just so preventable. They got really lucky. And if this was you or me, we probably don't have the shine. So you best believe we are both running. And if you're not, cooked. Just don't be stupid, have some common knowledge. And if you want 100% guaranteed to survive, after realizing Pennywise only attacked Derry, move out of Derry and you are safe forever. In the middle of the screen is a video. I don't know which one it is, but it's a how I survive video. So if you want to watch more how I survive, I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I have a little bit of common knowledge. So if you want to see some more common knowledge, you can watch that video. Thank you so much for watching.